This is J&T's Backyard Bowl.
Hello and welcome to Backyard Bowl. I'm Jay, and I have some unfortunate news. T has had a mental breakdown, and he's fled into the woods. We don't know when he's going to be back, but hopefully he's recuperating. We'll just have to see. So in order to fill that T-shaped hole, I'm going to do things a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to run down some headlines for you, and then I'm going to start a new segment that is the voice of the people, where I gather a few folks together that I've managed to coerce, bribe, or otherwise Shanghai into just giving their general everyday opinion. These people aren't obsessed with politics like T and I are. And hopefully it adds a little bit of, flavor or, balance to this podcast. And with that being said, let's just get right into those headlines. So first up on the ballot, we've got the California governor, Gavin Newsom. He's straight up stopped the death penalty. There's a moratorium out there. He's not doing anything for it. He's stayed all of them, and it looks like he's in it for the long haul on this one. And I mean, this is a man who has been a long proponent of getting rid of the death penalty. So he views his election as basically the people saying that they don't want the death penalty. So that's to be determined right there. I don't know necessarily how I feel about that. I mean, I feel like in certain circumstances, like the death penalty is necessary. But then on the other hand, you also have like a third of these cases where like turns out they're innocent. And like if you're gonna kill somebody, like state-sponsored death, you can't be, any amount of uncertainty in that aspect. And there's way too much margin of an error there to have that be a thing. Like it's like 1/3. That's just not right. So like I agree with this on the state that like we have to do something better about that. Up next, we've got a couple new runners in the Democratic scrum. We've got Beto O'Rourke, the Texas candidate from 2018. And he was a Democratic darling and managed to turn, for lack of a better term for it, turn Texas purple. He won a lot of races for everyone except for his own, just because of the amount of votes that he got out. So it should be interesting to see how that runs down, just with him going against some like the heavyweights like Bernie and Harris and Warren and Biden when he eventually runs. We also have Kirsten Gillibrand who's running. That's kind of surprising by my sense, by my opinion, because like I wasn't expecting her to run, but I definitely think that she'll last for a little while, but I don't think she's gonna be anywhere towards the top. It's to be determined though. She could always come out of left field and just take over everything. Up next, Trump's gonna have to do a veto. He already did it via Twitter in all caps, with veto, as soon as the Senate voted on the rebuke of his national emergency. So that's his first veto, and we should be looking at something that's probably going to not go very well for those of us who don't want the national emergency. Because at this point in time, I don't think that they can get the veto-proof majority. I mean, it passed as far as like just like a general majority, but as it stands, they're not going to be able to get the veto-proof. So Trump's going to get his money, and then, you know, as we've seen in his latest budget proposal, he's wanting $8 billion more for the wall. So this whole wall talk's never going to end, pretty much. And then, lastly, we have a huge wave of protests from high school and middle school age kids walking out of class on this whole climate change thing. And I thought this was really, really interesting because, like, this has been going on over in Europe for, you know, several months now. And it's finally spread over here. So this is good news, and like, I understand why they're doing it. They're the ones that have to live on this planet. So I don't blame them. Like, you know, these old Republicans that get a bunch of fucking gas money, they're not going to be around for when the world goes to shit, you know? They'll be old and dead. So, these kids are pissed. And I think this is a really, really great trend, because between these protests and then just the Parkland kids, you see at a much younger age these kids getting politically active. And it stands to reason that we won't have a population that is, you know, okay with the status quo. There's going to be a lot more politically engaged population once these kids become voting age, and I think that's really, really cool. And that about wraps up our headlines for the week. So now it is time for Jay's Voice of the People. And I'm going to go ahead and let my first guest go ahead and introduce himself.
Hi, I'm L. I'm your local neighborhood half-breed. More into motorcycles, alcohol, and just video games. Try to stay away from politics as much as possible because I have a hard time understanding it.
It's also very stressful.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that.
I mean, look at T. He's had a breakdown and in the woods right now.
Yeah, he's freaked out constantly. Like, I definitely don't know where to look for this info, so I always try to stay away from it as much as possible on that front.
So, you wouldn't say that, like, it's a priority for you at all?
Oh, no. Definitely not.
Okay.
It's more confusing than anything to me. You know, you get hit with, like, 4 or 5 different sides of a news network putting their own spin on the same story, and you don't get facts out of it at all.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to do the research yourself, and when you try to actually do the research, you don't know where to go.
It just adds more, like, it's just a rabbit hole of research, trust me.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. So you gotta, like, somehow try to pick through the weeds of it, and if you're not that well versed in it, you don't know what you're going into.
Right. Okay. So, why don't you go ahead and tell us, like, let's rewind back to 2016. What did you think of all that? Like, the whole Hillary Trump thing.
Oh, God, that was... Can I curse?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
This is a very explicit.
That was definitely a shit show. So... when all that went down, we were sitting at work, and I'm just sitting there watching the TV, and because we didn't have that much work that day, when that got announced that Trump actually won, truthfully, like, either one of them would have won. It's just a shit show to begin with. But Trump winning, I was definitely one of those guys that were like, fuck it, I'm going to Canada.
Yeah?
But, like, right now, it's like, it would not be beneficial to me to do that.
Right,
or
certain
anything.
circumstances and all that jazz. I got you.
Yeah. So, like, I really did not have a leg up in that race. Like, I was definitely feeling the burn at that point. Like, just on my political understanding, I was definitely feeling the burn.
Okay,
and
yeah.
seeing
during
that
the primary
he got,
and whatnot.
seeing that he got kind of shifted out of that was kind of messed up.
So you're like T. You're a Bernie bro.
I felt like a Bernie bro. I felt like a Bernie bro. Like it just, some of his, from what I understood, some of his policies seemed more understandable to me. Like it seemed like I could get more information out of him, and he was more to the forefront of it. Like Hillary, it just seemed like she was just drugged up and trying to deal with her late ages, and Trump is still just a millionaire trying to like be hip with the kids type deal.
Right.
That's what that seemed like to me.
Okay.
Yeah, the only reason why I think that he won was for the simple fact it was something different. That people were just getting tired of regular bullshit.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why all the Bernie Bros were bitter.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
Hillary won that nomination from the DNC.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, man. I mean, you don't necessarily have to answer, but who'd you vote for?
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
Because again, I had no idea, like on the research, like I want to see your policies. I want to know where you're getting the money from, and I want to know your outline. Like if you don't put that up front for me, I can't vote. I don't have the information to judge that. And none of the contenders actually had that anywhere that I saw. And they didn't have enough info for me.
Well, I have to say, I don't know if you really listen to the podcast and all, but I broadcast this website quite a bit. It's called opensecrets.org, and it's all the campaign finance for every fucking senator and congressman, or senator and representative, and presidential candidate and everything like that. And it breaks it down by like industry and the PACs and everything like that. It's super cool. So you need to check it out.
So far, I'm fucking up, apparently.
No, man. I mean, like, dude, I didn't find out about this until, like, I think it was, like, episode 4 or 5 of this podcast. So it wasn't that long ago. This is only episode 19.
Oh, man.
You know, so.
I never knew where to, like, find that stuff out. Like, I want to know. Like, if you don't give me, I'm the type of guy, if you don't give me the info, I'm not going to, like, place judgment on that. So I just, like, forgo all judgment.
Right. And it, like you said, it's super hard with the bias.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, you got the spin of Fox and you got the spin of CNN.
Yes,
and it's like both of them are wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, that's all it is. It's not actually news nowadays. It's not actually facts. It's spin. Like, how can we spin this to get our bank accounts up or whatnot? I don't know if I can. Yeah.
So, this upcoming election, we've got a packed primary right now on the Democrat side, and then of course, you know, there's murmurs about a challenger for a Republican challenger for Trump. We'll see if the Mueller report comes out and whether or not that, like, you know, shakes things up on the GOP side. But first off, are you gonna vote in 2020?
I don't know. I have to see the candidates and have to like actually do my research. I would like to, but if again I don't have the info I need, I don't know if I will. I keep seeing like Snake Plissken 2024 type deal. I keep seeing that. I keep seeing the Bernie Sanders again. Like I think he's putting his hat in the race this time.
Oh yeah, he announced a week or two ago.
Okay, I do remember
Burn is
seeing
back.
something. And yeah, as far as I know, those probably will be the two I would actually look more in depth with for those guys. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see the whole candidate.
Are you registered?
Currently, no.
Currently,
No. I would have to register, of course, but currently, no, I'm not.
You know, it's pretty easy, man.
Yeah, there's quite a few avenues I can go through to register. Just I haven't.
Right, I got you. No, I mean, like, the apathy is real, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, what we do on this podcast, it just, like, by the end of it, that's why we have Happy Science Time, is strictly because, like, I'm so downtrodden from, like, the bullshit of politics.
Needs some kind of uplift.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, theoretically speaking, I mean, like, I think I already kind of know because you're a Bernie bro. But, what are the Dems gonna need to get you on their side and get you to register to vote? Like, is it gonna be like legal weed? Is it gonna be free health care, free college? You know, a more environmental platform? Like, I mean, what's the most important issue for you? What's the thing that's gonna be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna actually, like, you know, take time off of work, go down to fucking, you know, the courthouse and register and go fill out all of those goddamn forms.
Yeah.
Like, what's it gonna take for you to, like, actually, like, be motivated to go and vote?
Man, that's a toughie. 'Cause we know all those things won't be free. Especially free healthcare, free college. No, they're coming out of somebody's pocket.
Oh yeah.
But I need to know where they're coming from. Like, I'll do a 10% tax raise on myself
Well,
to cover those things.
the way that the Democratic Socialists, as Bernie and you know, AOC, like, you know, like to position themselves is they're going back to, like, the 1950s, 1940s era, where old boys at the top, you know, like the top, like, 2-3%, top 10% of the earners in America, those motherfuckers are getting taxed at like 70%. So I don't know if you've ever seen those, like, you know, hardcore right memes where, like, you know, AOC is gonna take 70% of your paycheck. It's really only for, like, you know, the millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, even then it's a little difficult, like, to say yes to, because, like, I get it. Those guys, like, those guys built themselves up to that point. It's not fair that we would take most of their money. Like, we should also, like, somehow trickle it down to where we're all sharing equally the same load.
But those guys make more money that they can spend in a lifetime.
True.
And we've already had those. I mean, we had those in, like, I mean,
you got
the great era of, like, post World War II.
Yeah, you got,
you
like,
know, the tax rate for the upper, you know, the upper class was in the, you know, the 70s and 80%. I mean, it was super high. And I mean, if you think about it, like, 70% of $1 million, you're still left with $300,000, right?
But how much do they spend on their house, in their cars, in their vehicles, in their little private jets?
Well,
or
I
whatever?
mean,
like, I get that, but then all of a sudden you're, like, taking away from a lifestyle,
a lifestyle of excess.
that we have promoted throughout the years.
Well, I wouldn't say we. I would say
no.
I mean, my personal opinion, I would say that the Republicans have promoted. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's the American dream. Obviously, is everyone have the billions of dollars, but you know, reality states that, you know, not everybody gets that.
No, it definitely not. I came up in a poor family, so I definitely know those struggles. That I definitely have issues with people up top, especially in the government up top, having an excess of money, because especially in the Senate and Congress and everything else, they forget who they're actually working for. They're working for us, the American people.
Oh, that's the concept.
Yeah, and they're working 6 months out of the year, but you're sitting in some oil tycoon's pocket getting set amount of money. So that definitely should come out of their pocket, I believe. But how to do that in a fair and concise way, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So you're a little uneasy about that 70%. Then is what you're saying. You're not fully on board for it, but do you favor higher taxes on the rich?
I would say yes at this point.
Yeah.
Yes at this point. Especially if they don't do any more contributions to society. If they're not, like, having a charity or whatnot. Like Bill Gates, most of his stuff goes to charity.
Well, I mean,
as far as I know.
if you want to talk about charities, let's talk about the Trump Foundation or the Clinton Foundation.
No, those are not charities. That's something
thing,
completely different.
But that's the
that
thing,
is
man.
Something
There's
completely
loopholes,
different.
and they use them just like that. Like, I mean, like, you can say, like, yeah, like, they do charities. They're doing great work. Like,
the general populace knows those are something completely different.
I don't know if the general populace knows.
I think they do. Like,
I
know, I'm pretty sure it's some random ass person on the street is like, hey, if you donate to the Clinton Foundation, like, fuck no, that goes straight to their pocket.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, granted, I think there should be more strict rules on what you can apply for charity. Definitely at that point. But, yeah, for other guys that actually contribute back to society. For those that actually contribute back to society. Like, I say that twice to put it in quotations. Because I mean that. If you don't, then fuck you. Let's put you in, like, even higher bracket. Like,
I got you.
But, I think at some point it should be made fair to where people are paying what they can afford and what they can live at. Not necessarily just like, you get paid higher, so we're taking much more out of you. That's
one of those, like, kind of like subjective things. Because, like, well, what I can afford, because, like, I mean, like, I gotta pay my, my pilot for my fucking G6.
I gotta pay my yacht.
And I gotta pay my toilet hooker that, cleans my toilet and also gives me a blowjob in the morning.
Exactly. Like, no governor, no government appointed official should be able to say that, like, I have to pay such and such to do my laundry. No, you're a grown-ass dude or woman. Fucking do your own laundry. You're a grown-ass person. You shouldn't own a yacht. Like, at that point. Like, you're a government official. That means you belong to the people at that point.
I would like to agree with you, man, but the problem with that is that we hire fucking doctors and lawyers, mostly lawyers, into fucking
it is
shit, and that's just nothing but fucking money.
Yeah, they go to college for political lawyers or political law.
Yeah,
like, and most of those are our governors. Like, it should be scientists, doctors, physicists.
So you're more for a meritocracy. Like, based on merit is who should run this country. Like, if you're a intelligent scientist in your field, you should, be in charge of said field that is governing the country.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
So if you're like the top rated economist of the country, like, guess what?
You should have a board. You should be leading a board of economists at that point.
Yeah, you should be on the Fed.
Just like talking it out at that point.
Right.
Like,
No.
you shouldn't have some political lawyer saying, "Nah, this is what we're going to do because I think that's going to put more money in people's pockets." No. That's not how that works, bro. Like, none of what you said is how it works. It's like, listen to your panel of board that you hired to actually get this bill built up. It's like, if they're saying no, then you should say no. But
Okay.
but that's not how it happens.
No, of course not.
And that's my issue with the whole system.
Yeah, that's my major issue with the whole system too, man. But to wrap things up, so you heard my backyard bowl headlines. I want you to just take one of these here, and just give me your personal opinion on it. Out of the 4 that we got this week, just pick one and just run with it, man. Tell me about it.
Okay, let's see. Let's go with. We'll go with kids everywhere walk out of class and protest on climate change.
All right. So what's your stance on that, man?
So here's my deal with it. Like, alright, a lot of naysayers just put it out there. Like, they want to highlight the point that these kids are just trying to get out of class. Climate change is a real thing. Scientifically proven.
Well, I hate to tell you this, man, but the majority of the GOP disagrees with you on that front.
Well, the majority of the GOP aren't scientists. They're political lawyers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Again.
I'm not a scientist, but
But, just saying, I mean, if our kids are trying to take the forefront on this, we as adults are fucking up.
I agree, man.
Like, we as adults are fucking up on this. Like, our kids are having to take the forefront on this. Like, climate change is happening, guys. Like, we need to get away from fossil fuels. We need to get away from quite a few other things to make it to where we don't hit the point of no return. To where we just end up fucking this up for 3 generations later.
Right. And it's one of those things that it's beautiful to see, because, like, I mean, this isn't the first time that you've seen kids like being like, all right, you know what, I'm fucking tired of this.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm a little jealous that, like, you know, when we were this age, we were not just like, you know what, fuck this, let's go out.
Yeah.
You know,
Kind of wish we actually had the gumption to do something.
the gumption
like,
and the
yeah.
coordination to do this. Like, you know, with this, I mean, it's pretty crazy that it's already been going on all over the world. And
Yeah.
it's just now reaching America. You know, I mean, sometimes we're a little late to the party.
Yeah.
But,
Even though we consider ourselves the forefront of everything.
right. Well, you know, we're a little self-absorbed. We're Americans.
Yeah,
What do you expect?
Just a wee bit.
But I mean, this is really, really cool. And there was one quote that I heard earlier today, where this fucking, you know, sophomore was like, well, you know, these politicians and these adults that are running things, they don't really, you know, get the importance of this because they're not going to be around that much longer.
No, they're not.
And it's actually true. Like, when I talk to a lot more conservative coworkers and friends and stuff like that, a large majority of them are just like, what does that matter to me? And it's like, but bro, you got kids.
Yeah. I'm like, don't you want your grandkids to know what a tree looks like? Just saying.
Do you want your kid to play Fallout in real life?
Yeah, no kidding, man. Hey, Mom, going outside. Don't forget your gas mask.
Watch out for the super mutants.
Yeah. Fucking Deathclaw coming at you. Like, no, bro. It doesn't sound like a good life to me.
It does not.
It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I was having the same conversation with somebody, like, along the same lines. Like, it doesn't become a problem until it affects the person.
Yep.
So when it affects a person, it becomes a problem. And that is a lot of the mentality that not only Americans or I think the world just involves themselves in. Like, we got issues going on in Venezuela right now. We got issues going on in Switzerland. And, it's just, at this point, we're just sitting around in our backyards like, whatever.
Yeah, but did you see that last episode of XYZ?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of humans in general, though, you know?
It is. But,
it's not a problem until it's in our backyard.
But
for the most of us, anyways.
But unfortunately, the Earth is our backyard, and that's where we...
Yeah, that's kind of the kicker.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
I don't know, man. Are you for the Green Deal, then?
Yes, I would have liked for us to be actually at the forefront of it. Like, if...
Well, I mean, like it's going to go up in the Senate here shortly. I don't think it's really going to pass because, it's GOP controlled.
Is it the same one that he denied earlier?
No.
Okay.
This is AOC's new Green Deal, where she's basically like saying like we need to get solar panels on roofs.
Yeah.
We need to reduce the amount of fucking carbon by like I think it's like 2024 or something like that, or 2022. Like, it's basically a fast track to like getting rid of like transitioning fully to a green economy.
I mean, like,
also getting rid of farty cows.
Yeah, be kind of good. But no, solar panels on roof. I don't know if most people realize that, but you get paid for putting power back into the power grid. Like, you make money having solar panels on your roof.
It's true. It's just that the overhead and getting those installed.
Yeah, the initial cost, yes.
Yeah. And not only that, but like if you live in a state like we do, Florida.
Yeah, kind of.
You have a few laws that get passed that are in the guise of like super good for solar, but end up like actually fucking you.
Oh,
so
damn,
you can no longer lease solar panels or stuff like that.
Damn, I gotta look into those then.
Yeah, it was like the super great awesome for solar initiative. It was back in 2016 as well.
Okay.
But yeah, if you actually went down and read into it, it's basically like you can no longer like lease your roof to outside companies to sell, so that you could basically like, hey, yeah, I want to lease my solar panel, like lease my roof for solar panels, right? Mm-hmm. So like I go and rent solar panels,
yeah,
and they throw up solar panels. I don't have to pay fucking $30,000 to put them up.
Yeah.
And then the money goes into
the power grid,
and I pay like a lower premium on that, and eventually like I get them,
eventually,
or at least like eventually it evens out to where like I get cheaper money, or I get a cheaper power bill, they get money, and
because essentially the cheaper power bill and the beginning of it pays for the installation.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that's not allowed anymore. You can't do that. No third party.
The fuck?
Yeah, you can't rent out solar panels on your roof. But it's just one of those, coal oriented and backed lobbies.
PDGF.
Yep.
PDGF.
Well, with that being said, El, it has been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So up next, we have another guest. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Courtney.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are you? Who are you? Who is
I
Courtney?
work for a mortgage company. I am 27 and I identify as, I guess, more right, but you know me. I have views on both sides.
Yeah. I think you're like a lot of Americans. So,
yes.
You got the both right and left views. Okay. Well, I can't say nobody's full right and full left, but, because there are people like that.
They're just a little bit older than we are, maybe.
Yeah, they're just a little,
Not progressive.
a little foxy. But that's a different discussion for a different day. So, so what do you think of what's going on just in politics today? What's your main take?
Politics are hectic.
Yeah.
They're hard to keep up with. And it's hard to tell who's telling you the truth.
I'm sensing a common thread here. You're not the first person to say that. So what about is it that's hectic? Is it like
it's everything. It's social media spinning it. It's the news spinning it. Everybody's spinning it towards their advantage rather than telling you the truth of what's going on. And that's, I feel like, the main concern in social media and our news and advertising and how they tell us everything today. They want to tell us their side, not the whole story.
Right. Okay. I got you. So, what'd you think of the 2016 election?
I had heard Trump was running before anything ever happened, and I thought, you've got to be yanking my chain, man.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
No way. And then Hillary? You got to be kidding me. And then it really came down to the lesser of two evils, and it was a reality of what our America, world, and society was going to be. And it was very scary because it wasn't a definite, like, yeah, great guy, yeah, great woman. It was, oh shit, who's the lesser of two evils right here?
Yeah, I think South Park did a really good episode on that.
Yes.
Between a douche and a turd sandwich.
Yeah, and it makes me worried for the rest of our elections. Who the heck is going to be on that ballot? Like, what? Where did you come up with this guy from? Where did you come up with this chick from?
That actually leads me into my next one. You plan on... first off, did you vote in 2016?
Yes, I did.
Yeah? Do you mind if I ask who?
I voted Trump.
Yeah? Okay. So...
I was a silent Trump voter. And I believe that there are loud Trump voters and there are silent Trump voters. And it doesn't come down to that we are for Trump or against Trump. It comes down to, were we for Trump or were we for Hillary?
Right. That seems to be a lot of people that I've talked to. Are you for Trump now?
I won't lie, I watched the Michael Cohen thing, and that really opened my eyes to a lot of things. Never did I ever say, Trump isn't a bad guy or has he not committed any wrongdoings, but it came down to who's committed more.
Yeah.
It really did. If you're going to leave our troops over there who have sacrificed everything, that's not right. That's not right. That's people's families. They should have the right to come home. They should have the right that if they signed up for this and we send them over there, we're going to do whatever we can to get them home.
Okay, so are you talking about, like, with Hillary, like the whole Benghazi issue?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's where a lot of my decision on what happened came down to it.
All right. So Benghazi was a big thing for you.
It was.
All right. So next year, we're up for another dumpster fire. Be ready?
No. Is anybody ready? No.
I'm ready. I am excited for it because I feel like there is a lot of really great movement, but that's just my opinion on it. What's your take on the Democratic field right now? If you need a rundown, let me know. I can tell you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so right now we've got Bernie Sanders. Bernie's back. A new candidate right now is Beto O'Rourke. He's the dude that almost beat Oh, God, what is his name? He looks like the Zodiac Killer in Texas. I can't remember his name. Either way, he lost in Texas, but he managed to like move a lot of things pretty blue over there. So Texas is kind of purple. So he's in the running. He was super, super popular amongst the Dems.
Okay.
You also have Kamala Harris. She's from California. She's a former prosecutor. She's a up-and-coming star in the Democratic platform or primaries or whatever. Biden is expected to run. You know.
Everybody loves Biden, though. I mean, how could you not after the memes
The-
with Obama and Biden? Like, come on, he was the best dude that you ever could have hoped to have. I'm right
It's-
here.
I'm gonna laugh if Biden wins it all and it's all over or all because of those memes. It's gonna make me really sad for America, but yeah. All you need to have is really great memes, and you'll be the president. You also have Elizabeth Warren, and let's see, we got Gillibrand. She's a new runner there, kind of a no name, as well as a bunch of other ones that are kind of really lower tier there. But I think we should talk about their policies more on top of it. So what the Dems are running for right now is climate change, universal health care, or Medicare for all, basically. There's a lot of people running on the whole like legalized weed platform.
I
And
think
then,
you'll
of course,
find a lot more Republicans on that than you would expect to find.
On which one?
Weed.
What?
And the legal, yes. Yes, because I feel
What
like...
are you talking about?
Okay,
No.
so we're not in the old school generation anymore. We're more in the millennial generation. What are they called? Z, X, something?
That's millennials and then Generation Z.
Z, okay. So we have a lot more open mind span than the older generation had.
Yeah, but the GOP is nothing but old white dudes.
Well, okay. Okay. But you have to think of the voters as a whole, correct?
Right. So what you're telling me though is like if there's a Republican, because like right now Trump's anti-weed. I mean, he got Sessions in there, and Sessions is like he's like the superhero against weed. He
Okay,
thinks it's
but-
like the devil's lettuce.
Okay, so we're from Florida. Let's talk about our Florida governor,
Oh yeah.
who's pushing for bud to be legalized as medical marijuana.
Well, I hope so, because we passed that as a
Well, okay.
amendment to the Constitution of the state.
So we passed medical marijuana, right? And it
Yeah.
was everything except for bud. Your oils, your essentials, your salves, your edibles.
Well, see, the problem with that is that it wasn't directly written in that it was the bud, and so the Republican legislator of the state managed to put like a lockdown on that and keep it, keep bud out of Florida. And
Which was our
it's-
former governor, correct?
Yeah, Rick Scott.
Yes.
Rick Scott, super anti-weed, also a GOP.
Horrible person.
Rick Scott, he's not really a good person. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I got a lot of issues with Rick Scott. But when it comes to the whole weed thing, like he's not really
Yeah, for it at all.
not for it at all.
Not
and
at all.
Neither is
DeSantis,
any.
though. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And I guess he's like one of the first of many, and maybe it is a shift in the right direction, because I mean we're gonna need bipartisan support to get it like fully legalized.
Well, and you look at the different effects from, prescribed medicine, pills, the big pharma, and weed. Come on.
Oh yeah.
The effects that it has on a human, you can't. Why would you steal with big pharma? There's no.
Okay. we're kind of going off a little on the rails here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to talk about the differences between weed and big pharma and why weed is way better.
That's
and
true.
how it could be great for not only Florida but United
Everybody.
States in general.
Yeah.
But let's focus more back on 2020.
Okay.
So the platform that I stated is the general platform that they got going on now. Is that something that you'd be down for, or are you going to vote for Trump?
No, I'm not necessarily going to vote for Trump. I'm going to vote for who I believe is going to do the best for our people and the best for America and the best for our economy, for sure.
Okay, so what does that mean? Like, what? So say that all those people that I named and like the stuff that they have, and they come to you and they're like, Courtney, we want your vote. What is it gonna take? What do you want? What do you need from the Democratic Party to get your vote?
Okay, so what do I need from the Democratic Party? Is how are we going? Where are the funds going to come from? I want to see I'm a budget person. I love making budgets. I want to see a budget from where the heck are we going to make all these budgets for free healthcare for everybody?
Okay.
It always comes down to, and we're a melting pot, but where does it come down to? Where are we going to make cuts in budgets to filter who comes in and out of here? I know that's a huge span of air travel, foot, illegals, but I want to know how can we filter it? How can we make it better? How can we make sure that our people are safe first?
Okay.
How can we build the VA? Our military people are a huge thing. Like, we should take care of them after they've come back, after they've, gone through huge things. And my personal belief has always been our veterans and our military should be taken care of mentally, because there is no coming back from that.
Oh yeah, that's
You
something
need
the
to be
VA
able to
has failed
tell
on
somebody and
horribly.
feel like you're comfortable and feel like they're not going to go to your commanding officer and say, hey, guess what? This guy has PTSD. How could you not expect him to have PTSD? That doesn't mean that he shouldn't serve. It means that we should treat it and manage it.
Okay.
And if he wants to serve and stay in, find a way. If not, we need to manage him outside of that.
All right.
Those are my main concerns with America, and especially our homeless, like mostly veterans, but there's other people too. Like, we need to take care of our own before we can take care of the rest of our world.
Okay, so if I can just condense all of this, you want sound budget for things for these big safety nets, such as Medicare for all and free tuition and stuff like that. You're worried about immigration, so immigration reform.
Not immigration so much, the illegals and what we're paying for them to stay here, and us as Americans don't get free college.
Yeah. Do you think illegals get free college?
Yes, a lot of them do.
I think I'm going to have to push back a little bit on here. I grew up in Arizona. A little bit of detail on this. I know quite a few illegals.
Okay.
And I can safely say that none of them are getting free college.
Okay.
Like, that is just an anecdote that I know of. But where would they get this money? There's not a legal free college fund.
Okay, so let's take into account that I had to pay for school. I had to pay for my lunches.
Right.
I had to pay for everything. Especially in our Florida system, they don't usually let kids go without.
Well, as they shouldn't. I mean, if you're...
They shouldn't. I agree with you.
If you're poor, I mean, like,
I
I
agree
was
with you,
on
but
I was on the bag lunch, the free lunch when I was a kid.
I wasn't poor, but yeah, we were struggling.
Yeah.
So
Reduced lunch
free-
instead of free lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
So a common ground there.
but so
would be
like,
nice.
but like, I mean, like free college though. Like, what?
Grants, everything. Okay, so I could get grants and scholarships if I were Native American, if I were not from here.
Okay, but Native Americans are from here.
Native Americans, yes, but there's
Yeah,
also
and
more
they get-
scholarships and stuff offered for people that are not from here.
Not necessarily. I mean, there is a large majority of scholarships available for minorities.
Yes.
But like, I mean, if you're not a citizen, you don't normally get those. Like, there'd have to be a very gaping hole, and they're usually
But-
private. Like,
So
in order to do FAFSA, like the federal financial aid thing, where you can get a lot of that majority of stuff, like you have to have a social security number that works.
but
You
isn't
can't have
it?
a fake one.
Yeah, no, I get that. But isn't it if your parents aren't from here, but you're born here?
Well, then you're an American.
Okay.
Well, then you're not illegal.
So your parents choose to come over here. So what happens with the kids that were born in Mexico and their parents decide to cross the border illegally and they come over here too? What happens with those kids?
Well, it depends. I mean, if those kids are younger, like, I think it's below the age of 12 or 18 or something like that,
Okay.
they become the Dreamers. And that's still all up in court and has been a huge issue. I mean, we've talked about the Dreamers on the podcast before, but these are kids that don't have any choice in that matter. And a large majority of them,
And
are
that's
usually
exactly
pretty
the thing.
successful. But, like, I mean,
You're a kid and you don't have any choice in the matter.
right.
But your parents chose to put you in danger.
I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, like, getting here is dangerous,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then again, like, staying there is also dangerous. They want a better life. I mean, like, that's kind of
Doesn't
like
everybody?
that's the American dream right there. And I ain't gonna lie, like, this country runs on illegal labor. I mean, that's
Well,
one of the
that's true
that's
because
one of the
we're too expensive, aren't we?
that's one of the reasons why our
Entitled little
orange juice
assholes.
is cheap. So.
The reason our orange juice is cheap.
Somebody's got to pick it. I mean, you're not gonna send a fucking a teenage kid from fucking Chicago out into the humid ass fucking orchards.
Again,
of
this whole
Florida.
conversation is not being educated fully and the right way. There's shit tossed around everywhere that's, hey, this could be true, this could be true, what's going on? We want you to hate this side, we want you to hate this side.
I suppose it's true. I mean, if you've been told that illegals get free college, I mean, obviously, as far as I know, maybe I'm missing that, but last time I checked, illegals don't get free college.
There are a few videos that I've watched out there, especially one of a girl who graduated college and said, everything was paid for me, and you want to get mad at me because I'm an illegal citizen here.
Right. Now, it depends on, it depends on merit, really. Because, if she's illegal and it just so happens that she runs through the entire gambit and she gets a private scholarship because of her grades, that's
It's a different story.
That's a different story,
Yeah.
because usually, it's not like, you're the worst student in the world, but you're also an illegal, so you get free money.
I guess I just want to understand how other countries do it with the free healthcare, the free college, and
Taxes are really high.
okay, so is that something that we want? I already know that the taxes that get taken out of my paycheck, if I were to have any more, I wouldn't be able to afford my bills.
Right. Well, if you look back, I think I talked about this with Elle as well. If you look back before Reagan, we had a pretty high tax rate for the top 1 and 10%. It was in the 70s and 90s and stuff like that. And if we were to go back to something like that, that's a lot of money that we could afford. We could use to afford things.
Here's my switch on you for that. I know a woman and a man. They're married, and she is a psychologist now.
Mm-hmm.
She makes loads of money. Awesome woman. And she said to me, where is it my responsibility to pay for everybody else's taxes whenever I've had to take millions of dollars out for my own education, and I've had to pay millions of dollars back for my own education?
Right. But, I mean, she should still pay her
She
fair
still donates to charities, does great things for our community, but
Well,
again,
she probably
she
donates.
started from nothing and made something out of herself. So,
Right.
and I get there's a lot of hands up in America. Your parents are rich. You born rich.
Oh, yeah, like that whole...
Passed down through the generations.
Or buying your way into college.
Oh, yes. That's
Yeah, no.
very real.
that whole scandal that just popped out this week. I don't know. Maybe-
There's good and bad to every side, man.
There
That's
is,
why I
and
can't,
that's
I can
why it's
tell
so
you I'm more on the
complicated.
Republican, but I can feel with everybody else on every other side.
I got you there. I gotta say, though, like, you know, I'd have to look at her life, and if she's living a life where she's driving a fucking Bentley and she's...
Oh no, she drives a little Nissan Altima. Lives in a little pink house.
Okay, well, I mean, that's all well and good, but she's not the top 1% of the country. The top
No, she's not, but
top
she's-
1% of the country makes, like, upwards of, like, millions of dollars a year.
Okay, which is all of our actors, CEOs,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
The people that, like, buy, you know, G6s, the airplane.
Who also influence a lot of the
Politics.
politics and polls.
And polls. Well,
So why
Depends on the poll.
aren't you guys in there right now?
what do you mean?
Why aren't you guys in office right now?
Yeah. That's I suppose that's true, but they don't want to do that. But they want to stay back and not get their fucking billions taxed. I mean, we have like the top 1% of this country. I mean, we have them going literally to outer space. They're funding their own space expeditions. Yet we have people here that can't get fucking proper health care or go into like, you know, they go into massive debt and have to go bankrupt. Oh yeah, and there was that law that was passed that like, oh yeah, now you can't, you know, you can't get rid of your medical debt when you go bankrupt.
Well,
you still have to pay that. Like, so.
Man, and medical's a
you
whole
think
other thing
that's-
for me.
You think that's a little
medical
messed
debt.
up though?
Yes, I do.
Go to space or get taxed like 75%. You
Well,
know?
let's go to the medical thing. That blows my mind.
Yeah, medical needs just general medical care needs to be reformed
Yes.
hugely.
Do you remember back in the day, whenever our parents had medical insurance?
Yeah.
And it was a copay. It was a straight copay. $20 anytime you needed to go see the doctor. $20. Guess what now? It's not like that anymore.
No, it's hundreds.
And I have insurance.
Yeah.
I have insurance. It's more for me to go to the doctor with insurance than I'm sure without insurance.
No, it's more.
There's been, I have talked to the people in the ER. In the ER, I went, this was years ago whenever I was on my mom's medical insurance. And he straight up told me, I said, oh, so you're the medical processor. This was when Obama was in office. And I said, how does Obamacare work? Like, what's going on with that? And he goes, you know, it's actually more for you to come in here with medical insurance than if you were to come in here without medical insurance or to say that you're claiming Obamacare.
Well, I mean, if you have Obamacare, that's medical insurance.
Yeah, but it's cheaper than me being a working citizen paying for a healthcare through
Through your company.
my company.
Yeah. Because your company fucked up. That's your company. That's not like the system.
It's everybody though. You're going through your company for healthcare.
Yeah, but you can forego that. You
And
can
do
forego that
Obamacare?
and do Obamacare if it's better. But see, that's the thing, is it all comes down, like, if you got back onto the marketplace back when it was, like, legit and they actually put money into it, not like now, because they're, like, trying to they've cut off the life support and letting that shit die on the vine. It used to be pretty good, and if you made a below a certain amount, you got a large amount of subsidies, and it was relatively cheap and helpful. Like, we got a lot of fucking kids that weren't covered through
well, kids
Obamacare.
should be covered through Medicaid and Medicare, correct?
Not necessarily. That's the problem.
I thought that's exactly what Medicaid and Medicare was for.
Yeah, but like
children.
It doesn't cover everyone. That's the problem. But
Who doesn't it cover?
over a certain amount of money, like if your parents make X amount of money if you're not destitute.
I agree with that. I mean, if
like,
you have that amount of money.
But it was a pretty low fucking number. A large,
okay.
Like, I mean, we're talking like I think I can't in good conscience say a number, but it was pretty low, like something like a few $1,000s below the poverty line.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, let's get one last question in.
One last question. I'm gonna fill you in a little bit on one of our headlines, but whatever one you choose that you have an opinion on. And I want you to give your whole, just average Jane opinion on it. If you need clarification, just let me know.
Okay, I'm just going to go with the one that, speaks to me the most, and that's that the Cali governor, can you say his name for me?
Gavin Newsom.
Okay, stops death penalty. And tell me what that's about.
All right, so this week he basically put it was like a moratorium.
Okay.
On the death penalty. So there's basically stays of execution indefinitely for right now. I mean, this guy got elected in office being a super big anti-death penalty proponent.
Wow.
He was
anti-death penalty.
Yeah, he wants to get rid of it. He doesn't like it.
Okay.
And he wants to try to finagle California into getting it passed so that there is no death penalty. So what's your opinion on that?
I don't believe that anybody is above the death penalty, especially considering the crimes or the actions or the repercussions you cause on yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe that there are people that are wrongly convicted, and that's horrific.
Something like a third.
Okay.
Innocent people getting murdered because they didn't commit a crime, but they were just, somehow
wrong
implicated.
place, wrong time, wrong crew.
Place, wrong color of their skin.
Okay. I'm just gonna hold back my conversation on that situation. But no, I do believe that there are people that should have the death penalty, and as a person that comes from abuse and everything like that, I wholeheartedly believe in the death penalty.
Okay. So you're basically wanting old Newsom here to F off, pretty much, with his whole anti-death penalty thing. You're not a fan?
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. Not a fan.
Okay.
Nobody is above
Facing
taking
the consequences.
responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
It's like getting a good ass beating.
Fair
A little
enough.
bit more severe.
Fair enough. Well,
Bitch,
Courtney.
your mama told you, but you didn't listen.
Well, Courtney, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. And
Thanks for having me. Thanks for conversating. It's always a pleasure.
that it is. We'll have to do this again once, T comes back.
Oh, God. He'll kill me.
He probably will.
He'll just yell at me.
And up next, we have another guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
How you doing, everybody? My name is John. Out here with my buddy Jake, talk some some backyard, was it bull stuff?
Backyard bull. I'm just gonna ask you a few
Absolutely.
questions, man.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
So, what's your background? Don't go like too specific.
Yeah, no worries. Been in the military about 18 and a half years now. I'm from Maryland originally. Moved around everywhere. Lived in Vegas for a long time. Italy, Hawaii, you name it. I've probably been there. So,
What's your political engagement?
if my dad had his way, he'd probably want me to be a Democrat. If my mom had her way, most likely a Republican. But I really think, as bad as it sounds, I guess it's not bad, but it's usually the person that's, in my eyes, pro-military, just because it is my job, and it does give me the money aspect of
completely
things.
Understandable, yeah.
So, I would just say, I guess, independent, because I don't really claim an actual Republican or Democrat stance, and that's what's on my voter registration is that. So,
Nice. All right. So, let's go back to 2016.
all right.
Yeah, that dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I've been using that word a lot tonight.
No, there you go.
What was like just the election, and then like the announcement of Trump and the whole thing? Like, just give me a general overall, like, what'd you feel? Like, were you stoked? Were you like bummed? Like, where were you at on that?
I think it was, for me, it's like what I would talk to my wife about, Natasha, all the time is, I feel like it was almost like the lesser of two evils. I knew I didn't want Hillary. I wasn't really 100% sure why I didn't want Hillary, but I knew what I was seeing on the news, and I tried to look at both aspect of things. CNN, Fox News. Everybody's got their own. They've got their one-sided on both sides, but you watch movies like the stuff that happened in Benghazi and stuff like that, and you go, was that really her fault and things, but then on the flip side, I say, well, Trump has a good argument with his economy piece, and he wants to make America quote unquote great again, and all things considered, besides the whole wall thing and whatnot, I was like, well, I mean, if he can make the economy better, that'd be nice. Because at the time, I was paying like $5-6 a gallon for gas. I'm like sitting there going, well, if you can lower that, I'm all for you. You know what I mean? So I mean, his argument was, his pitch was appealing,
Okay.
and so I really was like, just weighing both. I really didn't care about whether it was gonna be the first woman there, or whether it was gonna be Trump. It was, hey, who's pro-military? Who do I feel like, just with everything that I'm seeing, is going to be the better option? And then at the end of the day, I look at it like everybody's kind of jabbing at him because, all the stuff came out about, the old videos and stuff where he was talking about grabbing women in inappropriate places and whatnot.
Grab by the pussy. Don't worry. This is an explicit podcast.
Oh, okay.
You can cuss all the
there you go.
want.
So yeah, grab by the pussy and shit, and I was like, what though, it's kind of like, it's not the Harvey Weinstein situation that was completely awful, but it's like, a lot of people that were getting, shit canned for stuff that they said like 10, 15 years ago on like a tweet or some shit like that, and
right.
Back when it not quote unquote acceptable, but it wasn't really frowned upon necessarily. And now all of a sudden, because of really heinous acts, the really minor shit's getting frowned upon. So it was like, well, all right, if he said it, you know what? At the time, did he ever think he was going to be running for president? No. Was he being groomed for that kind of stance? No. You know what I mean? So do I really need to hold that against him? Probably not.
No, you got to hold against him. I mean, personally, I would think that you would have to hold it against him just as a person. So.
Yeah, you would, but I mean, when I was younger, man, then I'm not going to probably out myself here, but when I was younger, I probably said some pretty stupid shit.
Oh, yeah, same here.
You know what I mean? That if somebody were to videotape me and came back on me like that, I'd be like, well, yeah, it would be hard to argue your way out of that.
Right.
But we were young at some point in time. Was it the appropriate thing to do? No. But does locker room talk happen? Absolutely. I mean, I don't care who you are. It's going to be there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it wasn't. Was it right? Was it wrong? I don't know. I mean, obviously it wasn't right to some people. It wasn't wrong to others. But at the end of the day, does it ruin his credibility to run this country if he's grown since then? Whether people think he has or not, depending on his speeches and whatnot.
Well, I mean, it was only a couple years.
Well, still, hey, in a couple years, I've done, I've changed a lot in a couple years. You know what I mean? So
Touché.
I'm not saying that it can't have. I'm not saying that it would it be in a couple years. You know, does it say that it couldn't still have the same mindset? But I know I've changed a lot in a couple years, and a couple years can change a person a lot.
A couple years is a long time.
It really is. I mean, it honestly is. So I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, it was a shit show. It was a. Who in your mind did you think was the best candidate at that point? Because it's like, well, here are options.
Yeah.
Where do we weigh this one? You know what I mean? So.
Very, very true. And that's it's been a common thread as well in all the interviews tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about this upcoming election? 2020, man.
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
I've seen. I know it was the funny gag around where, you know, when Mattis, you know, stepped down from office, everybody was Mattis 2020, you know, or Mad Dog 2020 because of the, you know, the comparison to the alcohol or whatever. It was funny. It was good. And you know what? It's the same. I kind of relate that to the same thing as when they really wanted Colin Powell to run, you know, because here you got this great military general who's got a great mindset. He's got, you know, the political stance that everybody wants. He can articulate everything that everybody wants in a leader.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what everybody wants, that leader. You know, but there's a strong line when it comes to between leader, manager, and somebody who can actually, you know, run an entire nation, because you're going to take criticism no matter what.
Oh, so, yeah, of course.
I mean, just going off of what I've seen on the news and, you know, and I hate to say it, but what I read off Facebook is really, that's mostly where I get my news. And don't get me wrong, I know that 90% of it's fucking bullshit to begin with. You know what I mean?
Chastise you. But
no. I don't hold anything that Facebook says to any kind of, you know, that's the truth and 100% of the truth.
You take it with a grain of salt.
I take it with a grain of salt. I read one article and then I read another one and I go, is that really and then I go and Google it and I go, well, let's see what I can get from some legitimate news sources or whatnot.
So you do your due diligence.
I try to, yeah. Okay. I really do, because, I mean, these days you can't, well, you could never probably even before, but you definitely can't these days rely on half the news stories you get from there, because then you get the trolls that, you know, oh, so-and-so's dead. What?
Yeah.
Google. No, that's a fake fucking post or whatever, so.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
So, do you know who's running in the whole Democratic scrum right now?
No, I don't.
All right, so you got like Bernie.
Okay.
Elizabeth
No,
Warren.
I did hear about Bernie. That's right. That was he went from independent, right, to run Democrat.
Yeah, he's running Democrat.
Okay.
You got Beto O'Rourke.
Okay.
The Texas Senate candidate.
Okay.
You also got like Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand. I forget where she's from, but she's pretty new to the whole Congress scene, as well as like Castro and a couple others. Everybody knows that Biden's going to throw his hat in the ring.
Oh, really?
He just hasn't done it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
So, sans the person for a little bit, the Democratic platform right now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got basically, since you're in the military, basically TRICARE for everybody.
Right. Okay.
You've got, a huge focus on climate change. You got legalizing weed, and then you have Medicare for all. Or no, not Medicare for all. Gun laws.
Gun laws for all. Okay.
So, gun laws, weed, healthcare, and that's about it.
I mean,
So-
with the weed thing, though, aren't we really kind of moving towards that anyway? I mean, in a
It's
sense.
pretty slow, but the GOP's not big fans.
Well, yeah.
So really what you can say right now is the presidential platforms. I mean, because Trump's anti-weed.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sessions was the first attorney general, and
Right.
he's come out and said that he hasn't been a real big fan of it.
Right.
That. So, so that being said, if all the Democratic primaries came up to you, knocked on your door and all right, John, what do we have to do to get your vote? What is it going to be?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, the legalization of marijuana, that's not really a big thing for me. I mean, besides the point of that, we can't do it in the military anyway. I'm not sitting there going, man, I really wish weed could be like alcohol and we could smoke that shit every day and then go, have some kind of time to come off of it and go to work the next day.
Canadian military does.
They do. I'm sure they do. But I just don't see, the problem is and it's like alcohol, I just see people that would abuse it. Now, certain career fields, I guess maybe it would be okay if, hey, you're coming off a high or something, go to work. Maybe you'd be just fine. Maybe you'd be relaxed, you go to work and you're fine. There's other jobs out there, same with alcohol. You have to have a certain restriction on how much you take in prior to going to, and how much time you have away from it prior to going to work, because it could involve safety with, certain people in the public or whatnot. But, so that really isn't a huge issue. Now, if they did come and say, we are trying to get CBD oil legalized for government, federal, for military, because it's not for military yet.
It isn't. Oh, yeah.
Now, if they said they were doing that for military, because I do know for a fact, because my wife has used it before, especially when she lives in Seattle where it's legal there everywhere, that it has great medical benefits when it comes to pain management and things of that nature, and it really hasn't had much of side effects, at least that I know about.
Well, there's no psychotropic.
Right, there's no psychotropic to it. So really all it's doing is it's helping you with really good pain management, and it's not, so far, hasn't been proven to be have an addictive thing, kind of like muscle relaxers and things of those natures.
Oh yeah, like the opioid crisis.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So now they said that, all right, you probably check the box where I may, sway a little bit to that. But
it should be noted that, if they're going to legalize weed, that CBD is going to be okay.
Potentially. But yeah, I mean,
But
the state's legalizing it right now, and I mean, the federal government's still like, we're not.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be one of those things, where they came straight out and said, okay, hey, with the legalization of weed, we can't legalize marijuana for military use, but CBD oil we know doesn't have the psychotropic, effects of it, so we know it's not going to affect y'all in that way. We're going to allow that for pain management and whatnot. Then I'll be like, all right, cool. You swayed me to that that side of your thinking. That's one little check mark towards my side on that one. What were some of the other points?
Well, no, I'm just saying what you want.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So another thing is climate change.
Okay. Interesting enough. I was stationed up in Thule, and they came up there and did a lot of that stuff. We did actually sit through some briefings on that, where they did the coring samples and everything. And it's hard because I know that we have tried to make steps towards going green a little bit better. I'm not sure what they're proposing as far as the climate change aspect of things, but I know, with the whole going green with, electric cars and, cleaner burning fuels and whatnot.
So, have you heard about the Green New Deal?
I saw something on. I didn't look 100% too into it. I mean, quite honestly, I just been seeing the memes about, a certain somebody who's kind of had a maybe not the most intelligent thought process towards
AOC.
it. Yeah,
AOC.
yeah,
Yeah. She's the favorite punching bag of the GOP right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, she's the one that kind of came up with it.
Right.
And basically, what the Green New Deal is it's a way for us to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy, like
Right.
solar, hydro, wind, that sort of thing, and basically do it in a way that, we're not destroying our economy.
Right. I mean, if you, at the end of the day, if that's legit and you can get it done and, get it done efficiently and, it's not gonna hurt 100% of the population to be able to do that, then by all means, go for it. I mean, really at that point,
somebody.
Oh, I know, and that's what I was getting to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to hurt someone, most likely the money makers on that end. You know what I mean? And well, that sucks, but so be it. If it's gonna, it's just. I mean, is it the Democratic thought process that they're the only ones that are behind that kind of deal, or is it just because she happens to be a Democrat and she came up with it? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, not to be biased or anything,
no, you're fine.
As it stands right now, the GOP is full on fuck you to climate change, which if you get on opensecrets.org and you look at where the money comes from, most of the oil and gas money goes to the GOP. So there's a reason why they're anti-climate change.
Well, yeah, they don't want their money to go away.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, as unfortunate it is, climate change is a partisan issue.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely a tick in the Democrat box when it comes to climate change.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it really is. And like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, if you can get that done, and we know it's going to actually happen, and you're not just telling me a bunch of bullshit, it's not just a bunch of mouth talk, and you see some actual headway on it, then yeah, you're going to check my box. But if you're kind of like where we started, if you're saying these candidates are coming to my door saying, hey, this is what we're pushing for, well, great. I'm glad you're pushing for it. And I know it's got to start somewhere, but if you can show me that, if you're elected or whatever the case may be, that, hey, this is my well laid out plan, because that's what I like to see, well laid out plans. My plan is X, Y, and Z, and it looks legitimate, then yeah, I would probably be like, all right, cool, it sounds good. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not one or the other, I'm in the middle. So,
okay, all right.
Nice.
So, up next is gun control.
Oh, Lord. That's a touchy subject right there. It really is. Let's see.
I'm going to go ahead and say that you probably don't agree with Democrats on that.
Not from what I've been seeing, no.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like I saw what I see. I saw an article about, a Florida school that was hiring civilian contractors to be armed to walk out. You know what, damn it, if the way fucking things are going right now, then so be it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's, you see things, and I know I don't think anything's happened recently, but you see things in the past, where people will break into somebody's house and then they get shot because they break into somebody's house, and then they turn around and sue the person that shot them, deal. Well, motherfucker, you're committing the crime, breaking in there. What the hell what did you expect? Oh, welcome. Here, take my fucking TV, I think it was written into the Constitution for a reason, and you know, it makes complete sense that it's there. Is it going to get abused? Yes. I mean, everything has an opportunity to get abused, and you know, I know what was it earlier? There was a thing about what was it? What was that I read about? They wanted to make it like difficult for people that were non-U.S. affiliates, you know, citizens, couldn't or had a harder time getting, you know, owning a gun. Which,
Okay, yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, I completely agree with. I mean, if you're not, you know, a registered citizen, I'm not saying you're an illegal. I'm not saying anything like that. But if you're not a registered citizen, then where does that right comes
the
from?
avenue, like, I mean, like, that's how the 9/11 terrorists got
Right.
here. They immigrated over here. They were on visas, you know,
Right.
like, give them fucking access to guns. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from on that front.
And you know what's funny and was well, before I get on that small little tangent, at the end of the day, no matter how many restrictions, I'm a believer of this. No matter how many restrictions you put on guns or weapons of that matter, it's just like illicit drugs. It's just like anything else. It's just like maybe even prohibition back today. You want to talk about that? They put stringent laws on being able to have alcohol to the point where you couldn't. But what do people do? They went to speakeasies. They found ways
Right.
to friggin' get alcohol. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, yes, you can put harsh rules on guns. And if you feel that's the way it needs to be, then I'm not going to necessarily agree with it, but then so be it. But are people going to find ways to get weapons and ammo and the ability to use it? Yes. And now maybe what have you done? Now maybe you have taken certain people's ability, I won't say right, I'll say ability to defend themselves if necessary against a threat such as that, because of stricter gun laws for people that are willing to follow those rules compared to the people that aren't.
Okay. So that's like 2 yeses and a no right now. Mm-hmm. So what about Medicare for all?
I mean, I don't know if I guess it works in Canada. Don't they all get pretty much, they get free medical, right? And that's...
Yeah, there's I mean, Canada, Britain, Denmark, Norway.
I mean, as long as it's not... I mean, I'm in agreements with it. I mean, as long as you can, everybody is fair and treated equal across the board with the same treatment for their respective ailments, then yeah, absolutely. But if, you know, I come in there with, you know, maybe I'm throwing up or whatever because I got a stomach bug or whatever, and you know, so-and-so comes in and maybe he has a little worse stomach bug or whatnot, you know what I mean? And
right.
I don't know, it's just one of those things like, you know, do I get, you know, shoved off in a corner somewhere? You know, maybe he's paying a little bit more. Maybe everybody has Medicare, but then somebody can pay a little bit more, you know what I mean, to get like this premium, you know, shit or whatever.
Oh yeah, like a fast track.
Yeah,
like
you know,
pass,
yeah, let's do a fast pass to fucking, you know, healthcare or whatever. So, you know, as long as it's free and clear across the board, and if that is actually working over there, and it's a proven, you know, thing, it's a proven ability to work properly, then yeah, I don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean?
You worried about the cost?
And that's what I was just about to say. But that brings me to the next point. How is everything paid for? And that's, you know, if I have to have this friggin' triple bypass, but I'm, you know, on Medicaid that everybody else gets, you know, now everybody else has to foot the bill for this surgery that probably costs $100,000 instead of me paying into an insurance company that foots that bill, and then I pay a premium to that, So that's a tough one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to say, yeah, let's give everybody free medical,
Well, I mean, like, if they legalize weed, that's a lot more funds in the coffer.
Yeah, that's true. No, absolutely. And that's been proven to make a shit ton of money for people, you know?
Colorado's rolling the dough right
now.
now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, so it sounds like, it almost sounds like you're like pretty much ready to vote for a Democrat in 2020.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
well, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I voted for Trump, but like I said, at the end of the day, it was the lesser of two evils at the time. But, if a Democrat does, pose the right arguments, and like I said, has that, is able to articulate that well laid out plan.
yeah.
And I feel wholeheartedly that they're going to at least accomplish, because I know they can't do it all, but at least accomplish one thing,
something good,
while putting other things into motion. Then yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. Don't tell my mom that, because she might come over the phone right now and strangle me real quick. And don't tell my dad that, because then they'll be like, oh, now we got to have a party because he's like super Democrat. But yeah, if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. The biggest, the last caveat to that is, I know, just in the amount of time that I've been in, that Democrats maybe are a little bit more, they're a little bit more tuned to maybe hold off on a little bit of the defense budget and paying a little bit of the military in comparison to Republicans. And as long as I don't see a huge breakdown in that, like, because that's my livelihood, and I gotta protect my my livelihood.
Number one, man.
Yeah, I gotta protect my livelihood. I gotta look out for myself so I can look out for other people. So as long as that doesn't get affected, then yeah, I have no issues with voting Democrat if they're the right candidate to be sitting in that position.
Nice. All right, well, last question of the night. I got my headlines right here.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and pick one if you need a little bit of clarification on what's what on these. Just tell me like your general opinion on it. Like, give me your take. The average John take.
Let's go with kids everywhere walk out of class and protest on climate change.
Would you like a little bit of backstory on that?
So is it for or against it that they're walking out?
It's in for.
In for.
They're pissed off because adults aren't doing shit.
Okay.
And this is the week that last week where they actually it started happening here in the United States. It's actually been happening over in Germany and France and the UK for several months now, and the movement has just gotten over here.
Right. I think it's good. It's good to a point where, it's great that, kids are being involved. Hopefully they're staying more educated than just what, social media is feeding them. Hopefully they're looking at both sides of the coin. I'm hoping and I'm glad that if they are doing this, that teachers are allowing them that opportunity, and they're, and it's not disrupting, the education piece of it. If it's just one day, that's cool. As long as they're not trying to take advantage and they're going, no, we're going to walk out for a week.
Right.
There's no reason for that. Do your piece for the day. Absolutely. And it's like protests in the 70s and possibly even the 80s and whatnot. Hey, you got to do what you got to do for a day. Get your voice heard. Great. Don't make it violent. Do it educationally. Do it, articulate what you're saying. Make your stance. And then when it's time to go. And come back and hope that your voice was heard and something happens. If it is, and if it's not, if you need to schedule something else, then great. If not, just know that sometimes that's just the way the world works. And
yeah,
you made your voice heard, but at the end of the day, you know, maybe you will be the change at one point that you want to see, but until then, educate yourself, get smarter, work your way into those positions, and then maybe you can make that change happen, you know.
Right on.
As best as I could say that.
No, that's good. I'm glad that you're full in support of that. I mean, and that's basically exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's nothing violent about what they're doing and
Right.
anything like that. So, well, this has been quite wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely. You know, I'm not the most educated on these things, but I mean, I try to stay a little bit in the know. I mean, I try to do it from my folks, and every once in a while I talk to them about these things. So, but as I got older, I've realized I kind of do need to know just a little bit more about this stuff than when I was in my early 20s, and when I was like, whatever, who don't give a shit who's in there as long as I'm getting paid, you know, I don't really care.
Exactly.
Now it's like, well, all right, maybe I do need to know what's going on.
Exactly.
So, no, it's fun. I'm glad you had me on, and I appreciate it, and had a good time talking with you about this stuff. So, appreciate it, man.
Well, I had a great time as well, and hope you have a wonderful night, man.
I will, brother. I will.
And that about wraps it up. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on and sharing their opinions. These people took time out of their day and were only compensated with beer in return for coming over. So, if you like this cast, go ahead and like and subscribe it wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go ahead and reach me at Backyard Bowl J. You can reach T if he ever comes back at Backyard Bowl T. You can also reach us at jtbackyardbowl@gmail.com, or just check out the website at www.backyardbowl.com. That being said, it's been real, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.